Hey everyone, today I want to talk about why Dead Space 2008 is still so amazing, even in 2024. Now, if you'd asked me a few years ago about survival horror, I wasn't all that into it. I wasn't a fan of horror games, and honestly, I didn't know much about them. But then, something happened. My GTX 760 graphics card got shorted out, and suddenly I found myself looking for a gaming upgrade. That's when I dove into Mass Effect 1 and got hooked on RPGs. From there, I picked up Fallout 3, then Fallout New Vegas, and while I was exploring these vast worlds, I started hearing a lot about Dead Space, especially how it had made waves when it first released in 2008. Curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to give it a try. Right from the start, Dead Space blew me away. The moment I stepped onto the Ishimura, I was hit with this overwhelming sense of isolation and dread. The atmosphere of this abandoned mining ship, with its dimly lit corridors and eerie echoing sounds, felt incredibly real. It's hard to describe, but the game builds up this tension that makes every sound, every footstep feel like a threat. I wasn't used to this level of fear, and it kept me on edge the entire time. Unlike other horror games that rely on jump scares, Dead Space makes you feel the fear in a more gradual way, and it really works. Every corner, every shadow seemed to hide something, and even when things were quiet, you knew danger could strike at any moment. The sound design is a huge part of what makes this tension work. From the eerie hum of the ship's failing systems, to the distant clatter of necromorphs skittering through vents, every sound is designed to make you feel unnerved. I'd often find myself pausing, trying to figure out if I was hearing something coming for me, or if it was just the ship settling. It's these subtle touches that really make the world feel alive in a way that heightens the horror. The lack of a traditional HUD also adds to this feeling of disorientation. You're not getting flashy alerts about your health or ammo. Everything is integrated into the environment, with the suit's interface showing your health and air supply. It's a genius way of keeping you immersed in the experience without ever breaking the tension. But it wasn't just the atmosphere that grabbed me. It was the gameplay. I still remember my first encounter with the necromorphs, trying to shoot them down with the plasma cutter. There's something deeply satisfying about dismembering these creatures, cutting off their limbs to stop them in their tracks. I had never played a game where aiming for limbs was so crucial. It added a strategic element to the action that I really appreciated. Each encounter felt different, depending on the necromorphs I was up against. Some would rush me, while others would wait for the perfect moment to strike. As I progressed, I stuck with my go-to weapons. The line gun for the bigger enemies, the plasma cutter for ranged attacks, and the plasma rifle for more chaotic fights. The plasma rifle became my lifesaver when I faced those quick, agile necromorphs. I didn't hesitate to use the line gun for the slower but stronger enemies that needed a bit more firepower. Every choice in weaponry felt like a decision that could make or break my progress, and that tension kept the game fresh and engaging. Managing resources was another aspect that kept me on my toes. Ammo and health were always in short supply, forcing me to be strategic with every shot I took and every med pack I used. The fear wasn't just about the monsters around me. It was the constant anxiety about what might happen if I ran out of ammo or couldn't heal in time. There was always that underlying feeling that something could go wrong at any moment, and that uncertainty made the game all the more intense. Even when I thought I was prepared, the game had a way of throwing something unexpected my way. Whether it was a horde of necromorphs rushing me or a sudden, nerve-wracking boss fight, there was always something to keep me on edge. One of the best things about Dead Space is its storytelling. It's not in your face. Instead, it lets you piece together the mystery of the Ishimura bit by bit, through audio logs and environmental clues. The game leaves you to uncover the horror at your own pace, which makes it feel more immersive. Isaac Clarke's journey becomes your own, and the absence of a traditional HUD makes you rely on the environment, which really helps pull you into the world. It's a subtle, yet incredibly effective way of telling a story. As you discover more about the fate of the crew and the horrific events that led to the necromorph outbreak, it becomes clear that the Ishimura is more than just a setting. It's a character in itself. Its decaying, haunted corridors are as much a part of the narrative as the monsters lurking in the shadows. The progression of Isaac's character also stands out. He starts as a regular engineer, simply trying to survive and save his crew, but as the game goes on, you watch him transform. His desperation, fear, and determination are all portrayed through his actions and interactions with the environment. By the end of the game, Isaac feels like a different person. Someone who has been through hell and come out the other side forever changed. This evolution is reflected in his struggle to hold on to his sanity as the horrors of the Ishimura close in on him. And then there's the visual design. The Ishimura feels massive, yet every area you explore has a distinct sense of decay and disrepair. The flickering lights, blood-stained walls, and malfunctioning doors all serve to remind you that this is a ship that's been abandoned to the horrors of the necromorph outbreak. The level design is masterful, encouraging exploration while always keeping you on edge. Every time you enter a new room, you never know what to expect, and even the most mundane hallways can turn into a deadly ambush. And let's not forget the audio design. The sound in Dead Space is essential to creating the game's oppressive atmosphere. From the subtle creaks of the ship's metal to the haunting cries of the necromorphs, every sound feels intentional and purposeful. It's the kind of sound design that puts you on high alert at all times, making every moment feel like you're about to be ambushed. And when something big does happen, when you finally face a hulking necromorph or a massive threat, the sound amplifies the tension, making those moments feel even more intense. It's a huge part of what makes the game so immersive. So here we are in 2024, and Dead Space is still one of the best survival horror games I've ever played. Even after all these years, its intense atmosphere, unique gameplay, and haunting story still make it stand out. It's clear that Dead Space was ahead of its time and continues to influence survival horror games to this day. If you haven't played it yet, or if it's been a while since you've picked it up, I highly recommend giving it a shot. It's as terrifying and immersive now as it was in 2008, and it's one of those games that will always stand the test of time.
Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry.